Rain crashed hard against the tall glass walls of Alston Dynamics headquarters as CEO Adrian Walsh stepped inside, soaked with tension after another exhausting meeting. The company was collapsing under the weight of a $200 million crisis caused by a broken algorithm that no one could fix, not even his best engineers had found the root of the error. Adrian carried the burden alone, and the pressure suffocated his spirit more with every passing hour. He entered his private penthouse office, ready to force himself through another round of calculations, when he heard the faint shuffle of footsteps near the high-tech lightboard. He turned sharply, expecting security, yet instead he saw his quiet part-time maid Liana wiping dust from the digital surface. Her eyes were focused not on the mess but on the glowing pattern of numbers drifting across the screen. Her expression held something deep and analytical, something no ordinary cleaner would make while looking at glitching data. Adrian watched her without speaking, seeing how her gaze traced the structure of the algorithm like a musician. Hearing hidden notes, he finally cleared his throat, and Liana gasped, stepping back in apology. She said she was only cleaning, but Adrian could not forget the spark in her eyes. He asked softly if she understood what she had been staring at. She denied it at first out of fear, but her trembling hands revealed something else. He urged her gently until she confessed that she once studied computational modeling before her scholarship ended after her father fell sick, forcing her into multiple jobs. She said she only glanced at the board because something looked wrong in the sequence, something repeating where it should not. Adrian asked her to explain, and she hesitated, terrified of overstepping. But then she pointed to a looping cluster of symbols and said the anchor point was misaligned and the entire system was stuck, repeating at the corrupted cycle. Adrian felt a shock ripple through him because none of his experts had spotted that flaw, and yet this soft-spoken maid had noticed it in seconds. Adrian offered her the digital stylus, asking her to show him what she meant. She froze for a moment, but slowly stepped forward like she was walking toward a forgotten dream. Her hand lifted smoothly, and with quiet confidence, she redrew the structure of the matrix, guiding the broken lines toward a triangular anchor model. The glowing symbols shifted, adjusting themselves, and the board flickered from red to green. Adrian stared, speechless, because her fix worked perfectly. The main system pinged, announcing a full restoration, meaning Liana had solved not just a piece of the issue, but the entire $200 million crisis. He asked how she saw it so fast, and she whispered that numbers always spoke to her like patterns singing in her mind, something she had tried to bury under years of struggle and exhaustion. He asked her to follow him to the engineering floor. She begged him not to embarrass her, reminding him she was only a maid, but Adrian insisted. He walked her through the long corridors with employees staring wide-eyed. The CEO guiding a cleaning worker was something they had never seen. When they reached the tech department, Adrian called all engineers to gather. The room filled with murmurs and confusion. He announced that the crisis threatening the company had been solved, and the person who identified the flaw stood beside him as she lowered her head, nervous and small. The engineers looked stunned when he explained that she had cracked the algorithm in minutes. Some doubted him until he invited her to show them the process. She stepped to the main screen, her heart pounding, but her mind steady. She retraced the logic, describing each shift and anchor realignment. Her explanation was clean, elegant, and brilliantly simple. A hush fell across the room, then a wave of applause rose slowly, spreading through the staff as respect replaced earlier disbelief. The board members rushed in after hearing the commotion, and Adrian introduced Liana proudly, telling them she saved the contract and stabilized the company. Shock pulsed across their faces, then admiration. For the first time in her life, Liana was seen, truly seen, not as a worker dusting corners, but as a mind capable of extraordinary insight. Questions filled the air about her background, her studies, her family, her dreams. She answered humbly, explaining how responsibility had crushed her chances to continue her education. When she mentioned her debts, her mother's illness, and her younger brother depending on her, the room fell quiet. Adrian stepped forward and made an announcement that stunned everyone. He offered her a junior engineer position, a corporate scholarship, full family support, and a long-term path within the company. Her eyes widened and tears shimmered against her lashes. She said she could not accept because life had taught her that good things rarely lasted, and she feared abandoning her family duties. Adrian replied firmly that the company would support them too. The staff burst into loud applause, some even cheering. Liana shook as joy and disbelief tangled inside her heart. Adrian walked her out to the balcony, overlooking the glowing city. He told her that sometimes life hid brilliant people in impossible places, waiting for one moment to reveal them. He said she did not just fix an algorithm. She restored his faith in the purpose of the company and reminded him why he built it. She stood quietly, breathing in the city air, feeling her future shifting beneath her feet. The next day, the entire company buzzed with excitement. News screens displayed headlines celebrating the miracle. Maid, who solved the 200 million crisis, Liana, arrived wearing the new badge Adrian had given her, showing her official title as junior engineer. Employees greeted her with warm smiles and admiration. Adrian personally escorted her to her workstation, where her team welcomed her. Some admitted they felt humbled, knowing they had overlooked the solution while she had seen it instantly. She sat down, looked at the glowing monitor, and felt a surge of pride as she began running her updated code. Soon the system displayed new results, revealing that her fix had not only stabilized the structure but boosted total efficiency far beyond what the team had expected. Engineers crowded around her, amazed by her natural brilliance. Adrian watched from nearby, feeling a deep sense of pride. Later, she was invited to the main conference room, where the board granted her a long-term contract, a scholarship to complete her full degree, and a new innovation fund in her name designed to support hidden talents from underprivileged backgrounds. Liana could barely hold her emotions as gratefulness washed over her. When she stepped outside after her first official day, the night sky stretched above her, full of possibility. She felt light, different, awakened. She was no longer the girl scrubbing floors hoping for a chance. She was a rising engineer, a symbol of resilience, a reminder that greatness can bloom in silence and darkness until someone finally looks long enough to see it. Behind her, Adrian lingered by the doorway, watching with pride, knowing he had just witnessed the beginning of a remarkable story that the world would never forget.